Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to teach you about the SQL SELECT statement, and I'm going to try to make this a simple tutorial, but also very useful, and it can be interactive for you. So I'll give you a link to where you can practice it by yourself, and I'll try to make this a useful tutorial. Eventually, I'm going to show you how to have some text, and we can try out using the select statement with a few different lines, and that doesn't require any installation of database. And eventually I'll show you how to actually run it in a real database. I've made a temporary database or a teaching database, and we're going to be using this data for the tutorial, and it's a pretty simple table. It's about salaries, and I'll go over it in a bit. Okay, so let's get started. The SQL select statement, what is it and how does it work? Okay, so select is a way to retrieve or get data from a table in a database. And a table in a database is kind of like a table in a spreadsheet. So it's kind of like this. Essentially, we'll be getting data from a spreadsheet like this. And yeah, so it's like getting from a spreadsheet in Excel or Google Sheets, etc. The basic form of a select statement is something like select some columns from some table where some filters. Here are a few examples. So select star, this means select all columns, and salary is the salary table. And for example, let's say we want to get the name, career, and yearly salary from the salary table. That would be equivalent to name, career, and yearly salary. That would be the equivalent of getting all of this data, and then we would ignore this data. That's what the select statement would do. Okay, so I'm going to show you side by side with the data and doing some commands. Okay, so I tried to zoom in as much as I could to make this text as big as I could. On the left side here, I have the spreadsheet, and I'm actually blocking one of the columns to save space. We'll just deal with these columns. And on the right side here, I'm using a website called mycompiler.io. And basically this is a great site where you can basically run code online, different programming code. And we're going to try with SQL. So you don't actually need to install any software. All you need to do is just go to this URL, and this is going to be the default code, but I'll give you a link to where you can copy all of my code, and you can override the code and run it, and follow. If you want, you can follow along with the tutorial. Just copy all my code, and you can follow it along. Okay, so the first things first is that before I show you about the select statement, first we have to actually create the table, and we have to insert values. So that means we have to fill up the table. I'm not going to teach you about these, but you can just copy it and paste it, and basically you can take it as is. And give me a second here. Okay, so the first thing is all you need to do is you can just take this as given. So you can copy and paste all of this text. This just fills up the table and nothing happens at first. And you can actually run this code. Before we do anything, you can run the code, and you can run it with this. Just click on run. And give me a moment here. Okay, I actually have a select statement. I'm going to rerun it. Okay, so you should, assuming that all of these are commented out, you should see something that says execution completed, and that just means basically nothing. You don't see any actual output, but there's no errors, which is good. And one important thing about SQL is that all the statements have to end with a semicolon. So if you accidentally delete a semicolon or leave one out, you might get an error and it might complain and refuse to work. Okay, so again, I'm going to assume that you already have this, and I'm going to show you these lines now. So real quick, so any line that has a dash dash like this, those are comments, and this is also a comment, which means the system will ignore it. But you can delete all these lines if you want with the dash dash space. Those are just my commentaries. But the ones that have the hash like this, those are actual commands you can run if you remove the hash. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I just removed the hash for this, and it actually ran this command. But if I put the hash there again and rerun it, you should get no output. And then if I remove the hash for these other ones, it's going to run the command. Okay, so what this says, select star from salary, what this does is it selects all the columns and all the rows from the table called salary, and the output is all of it. And notice I'm not showing you the age group, but it includes the age group. So it shows the name, career, yearly salary, gender, age group, and all the different rows. So star means all columns. But now let's say we don't want all the columns. Let's say we want, and I'm going to comment this one out just to prevent having so much output. Let's say, for example, we want the name column. Okay, so I just moved the spreadsheet again so it's easier to see. Now let's say we want just the name column and the career column and the yearly salary column from this. And this is, so select this column, and this column. We have commas in between. And then the from, we have to choose a table. So the salary table, which we defined earlier, this I defined the salary table, but you can copy all that code. And what this is going to do is just give us those three columns. So notice here we just have name, career, yearly salary, and I'll move this over here. Name, career, yearly salary. We've got Brad, who's a doctor, has 150,000 per year. Sana is an idol and a singer, has almost 1.5 million a year, and so on. And yeah, so that basically got all of this data, and it gave us three columns. Now let's try one more. Instead, now let's do the same thing, but instead just get females. And I defined the gender column here with M being male and F is female. And what this is saying here, this is basically the same command as above, but now we added a where statement, and where is a way to filter. So instead of getting all of the rows, where is a way to filter the rows. So gender equals female, that's a filter. And let's run this. So the first female is Sana, and then we have Leah, and then Cheryl and Julie. We see here as Sana, Leah, Cheryl, Julie, and so on. And that got just the females. And notice that there's much fewer rows because the males were removed. But now let's say we want to get all the males. Instead of the females, let's get the males. So the gender is M, and I'm going to comment this one out. So if we want just the males, we've got Brad, Luke, Tony, right here, Brad, Luke, Tony, Mike, Nick, and so on. And that's a way to filter by the males. And now let's filter by the yearly salary. So for example, let's say that we want people who have a salary of 150,000 or more per year. For example, Leah is a chemical engineer, Nick, we've got Sana, Brad, but people who make less than 100,000 per year, Tony, Mike, Pilar, Sarah, so they're going to get filtered out. And what this statement does, this means greater than or equal to. And if we didn't have the equal, that would mean strictly greater than 100,000, but this means greater than or equal to 100,000. And let's run this now. So now we're just filtering by the yearly salary. We're not filtering by gender. And then we can see we have Brad, who has 150,000, Sana, Leah, Nick, Sonia, and Mary. All of them have more than 150,000. And notice that there are none that have less than 100,000. So that's a good way to filter out. And let's do another one here. Now, I mentioned about semicolons. Technically, SQL statements can run over several lines. One reason that they have semicolons is so the system knows that it's the end of the statement. So we can actually run it, for example, here what we're doing is we want basically the name column, the career column, and the yearly salary column from salary, where the yearly salary is greater than 100, excuse me, greater than or equal to 80,000. So for example, Luke will now be part of that. Previously, he's less than 100,000, so he wasn't part of that, but he will be part of this. And also we can fill, okay, so what this is saying is we want all the males greater than or equal to 80,000. So we have greater than or equal to 80,000, and then I added the and means another filter, so two filters. And I'll show you the output here. So get the name, career, yearly salary from this table salary, where the yearly salary is greater than or equal to 80,000 and they're male. Okay, so look, we've got Brad, Luke, and Nick. All of these people they're all male, and they're all have a salary of 80,000 or more. Okay, now what I want to show you is a real database. Instead of just this, I'm going to show you a database in MySQL with the same data and showing you how to run it there. Okay, so this is the same data. And notice we have a salary table, and the salary table, this is a MySQL command that says, tell me about the columns of this table. And what I'm going to do is say select star from salary. And what this does is this gives us the same data. This is the name column, career, yearly salary, gender, age group. And that gives the same data. And notice, yeah, SQL is really amazing. And you can see the benefits of SQL over using a spreadsheet if you use it enough. But it really is very, very useful. Okay, now let's say we want the name, career, and yearly salary from salary. So this is the salary column, or excuse me, the salary table. So this is the name column, career column, yearly salary column, and the salary table. So notice here we have the name, career, yearly salary, and so on. And if we want to filter by, for example, and real quick, it is good practice to have the SQL keywords as all caps. Technically, you don't need to have it all caps, but it is good practice where gender equals female. Okay, so this is getting just the females, and let's say, for example, we want the females and yearly salary greater than or equal to 100,000. So these are the females who make pretty good money, at least 100,000. Okay, so the select statement is incredibly useful, and I just showed you now in a database, an actual database in MySQL and on this website, the website. And I'm going to give you a link so you can copy all of this code. And again, as a reminder, you can go to this website, mycompiler.io. You can search for SQL, and you can run the code that I gave you and do it interactively. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to or follow this channel. And see you in the next one. Thank you.